Hey friends, consumer attorney Rob Nahum here. I wanted to talk a bit today about wage garnishments in the age of coronavirus. So if a creditor has sued you successfully in court and obtained a judgment against you, one of the best ways they can enforce that judgment is through a wage garnishment. Basically, the law allows a creditor to collect 10% of your take-home wages. The way a wage garnishment works is a two-step process. The local enforcement officer, which in the city of New York is the New York City Marshal, there's about 100 of them, or outside of the city of New York, it's the county sheriff. That's the enforcement officer. The judgment creditor serves that enforcement officer with a document called an income execution. This is the document that directs the enforcement officer to garnish wages. Then the wage garnishment has a two-step process. First, the enforcement officer serves you with a copy of the income execution and instructs you to voluntarily surrender 10% of your wages. It gives you 20 days to do that. If you don't comply with this voluntary demand, then after 20 days, the income execution goes to your employer, and your employer is instructed now to withhold and turn over to the sheriff or marshal that 10% of wages. Okay. What's happening now during the corona economy, right? Has the government responded at all? People really need that money in their pockets now for food, supplies, everything. So what does the government, have they done anything to help people who are under wage garnishment? Well, the answer depends on where you live and when your wage garnishment started. So let's start with the easy one. If you live outside of the city of New York, nothing, no help for you at all. The wage garnishment is still there. If you live within the city of New York, the Department of Investigations, the City Department of Investigations, that's the department that oversees the city marshals. So in the city of New York, the Department of Investigations has instructed the city marshals to stop wage garnishments. This started on March 24th. And the directive says basically March 24th forward, no new wage garnishments. Any wage garnishments that happen before March 24th, keep them coming in. You can keep collecting that money. Obviously, that creates a huge problem for people who really depend on that money. So what do you do about it, right? Can you seek any remedy? Well, you could go to court and you can try and convince a judge that that the judge should use his or her discretion to vacate that wage garnishment because you're so dependent on that money. One of the hurdles to doing that is ostensibly right now the courts are closed. So how do we get before a judge to convince that judge that they should vacate the wage garnishment? Each court is now open to essential matters. Whether or not this garnishment would be viewed as an essential matter, that's kind of a court-by-court thing. But I think there's an avenue to get it in there now, especially because the courts are starting to thaw it out a little bit more, and the essential matters are starting to broaden. So if you have a wage garnishment, the remedy is to go to court. If the wage garnishment came to you in the city of New York after March 24th, they shouldn't have done that. And the Department of Investigation, their directive says that if you've gotten notice of wage garnishment after March 24th, to call the Department of Investigation and notify them that the city marshal is trying to garnish your wages. What the outcome of that will be, TBA, we don't know, to be determined, don't know. But that's what you should do. Call the Department of Investigations or call a lawyer. Peace. Take care of each other. Love and light.